Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me. We're looking to some market movers for the day. Now, I want to do this as a series because I feel like I keep tabs on the marketplace when I actually make these kinds of videos, and there are some big movements pretty much all the time. And also it keeps me on top of the cards that are coming out since Wizards of the Coast is putting out so many cards. If I don't make a video like this, then it's going to be hard to keep up with it, and it might help you guys as well. So let me know. I'm thinking of moving this into a daily market update. In some ways, I'm going to try to cover everything that I normally do in a weekly, but focus more on the minute changes day to day. So first card is Stony Silence. 1 colorless, 1 white for an enchantment. Artifacts can't activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. Now, I probably don't have to actually repeat some of these because this is one of those very popular cards, especially in certain decks, and artifacts did get a major push from Modern Horizons 2. So there's no doubt that this card is probably starting its move higher as it becomes more and more in demand when people realize just how useful it is against some of these more powerful artifact decks that are going to come out. Next, Cavern of Graven Cans. Okay, it is a dual land, so taps for 1 colorless, or you can pay 1 black or red and tap for each one of those combinations of black or red. This is actually a really good card. It really is a good card. The artwork is nice. At $5 when it was and $7.99 on TCG, I think it's actually got some value to it. It depends on what you want to use it for. It's not one of those cycle lands, obviously, or sacrifice lands for draw another card, but it's still pretty good. Next, Teleportation Circle. 3 colorless, 1 white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target artifact or creature you control. Then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. This is pretty much like the Doors of Destiny, or no, not Doors of Destiny. Maybe it is Doors of Destiny, but the one that lets you pay 5 mana for an artifact, and then at the end of your turn you can blink a creature. It's pretty good in those kinds of decks, and this isn't the right color combination. It might become more popular as time goes on. It is 1 mana cheaper, but you had to play it in white, and white is one of the blinking decks colors anyway, so it's probably just a good card to add in that. Whirling Dervish, 2 green for a 1/1 with protection from black, gains +1/+1 counters at the end of each turn in which it does damage to an opponent. Pretty okay. It's a human monk. It is $11 on TCG. It is from Legends. It's not on the reserve list, so careful out there. Army of Allah. Arabian Nights. 1 colorless, 2 white for an instant. All attacking creatures gain +2/+0 until end of turn. Sure, this is not on the reserve list, but it is now sitting at $25. Alpine Moon from the core set 2019, 1 red for enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a non-basic land card name. Lands your opponents control with a chosen name lose all land types and abilities, and they gain tap to add 1 mana of any color. Pretty powerful land, not destruction, but change, and there are some pretty broken cards like Gaia's Cradle and so on that people have not got. $1.20 on TCG. Probably pretty decent, but depends on what deck you're playing. Cave of the Frost Dragon from Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. So this is actually dropped by a decent amount, at least maybe a certain kind of card. Land, if you control 2 or more other lands, Cavern of the Frost Dragon enters the battlefield tapped. Tap to add 1 white, pay 4 and a white. Cavern of the Frost Dragon becomes a 3/4 white dragon creature with flying until end of turn. It is still a land. Pretty decent. Death Greeter from Dual Decks, Garruk versus Liliana. 1 black for a 1/1. Human Shaman. Whenever another creature is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may gain 1 life. 80 cents. Durga Hedge Mage from Commander. 2 colorless, 1 red or white. 2/2. Dwarf Shaman. This card has been climbing for a while. When it enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more mountains, you may destroy target artifact. When it enters the battlefield, if you control 2 more planes, you may destroy target enchantment. Amazing card in white-red decks for sure. Notion Thief from Zendikar Rising Commander decks. Actually, all of the Notion Thieves have been going up. This card has all of a sudden become very popular. Human Rogue with Flash. If an opponent would draw a card except for the first one they drew in each of their draw steps, instead that player skips that draw and you draw a card. Pretty powerful and a nice catch. Like you can really blow out a person, an opponent with that kind of card. Shattering Spree from Guilds of Ravnica Guild Kits. Sorcery, 1 red, replicate for 1 red, destroy target artifact. Pretty awesome. It's $40. That does not sound right. Even $13 does not sound right. Okay, something is going on with that card. Reprocess, 2 colorless, 2 black for a sorcery. Sacrifice any number of artifacts, creatures, or lands. Draw a card for each permanent. Sacrifice this way. Really good card. So we'll have a quick look at the movers for this week and specifically for today, because there are some pretty impressive ones and good cards coming from Forgotten Realms. So the first one is Xanathar, Guild Kingpin. So he's really good. I've talked about him in the spoilers. 4 colorless, 1 black, 1 blue for a 5/6 legendary creature beholder. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. Until end of turn, that player cannot cast spells. You may look at the top card of their library anytime. You may play the top card of their library. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast spells this way. Amazing card. I think it was actually discussed in a video by the professor, so that could be a reason why it's moving up this extreme. Goldspan Dragon is moving up by 2%, but that was moving up by 20%. The Book of the Exalted Deeds moving up by 20% as well. So there are some expensive cards in this set already. The average is actually quite high. So there are cards also dropping, but nothing as much as the increases. The highest is Demi Leech at 13% drop. Limrith, Desert Doom from 10%, and the Arc Leech. Okay, that's a tough name. And so yeah, the biggest movers as well for the weekly is all of the Forgotten Realms. For the top losers, there are some here that are quite good. Dryad of Elysian Grove is a really good card. It's dropping down by 5%. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, is dropping down by 5%. So now it's probably at the lowest it's been in a while. If you want to pick it up for Commander, maybe a chance is coming up soon. Croxer, Titan's Death Hunger, is dropping down by 6%. And Shimmer Dragon's dropping down by 12%, so that's a big one. And Scourge of the Skyclaves is dropping down by 8%. The next I want to have a quick look at was going to be Pioneer. And Pioneer, obviously, Notion Thief is up by 170%. And that is all of the Notion Thieves that I could find. There were, I think, 3 or 4 copies. Ugin the Spirit Dragon's up by 2%. The biggest drop is Rest in Peace, down by 12%. Doors of Destinies, no, that's not it. So Doors of Destiny was not it. There was another card I forgot. Anyway, come back to me at some point. But the biggest movers in the weekly side is Final Devastation, moving up by 18%. This card is $50 now. Should have just got it for my dinosaur deck when it was like $20. Notion Thief, obviously 176%. Alpine Moon, up by 129%. The next biggest move is Rest in Peace, which is up by 15%. And down by 12% today. So very big moves happening in the market. And as foretold, down by 20%. Primal Amulet down by 11%. Another thing I want to have a quick look at was some of the more popular decks, especially since Standard is going to have a massive change up. So Sultai Control is still the big one. Mono green mid-range is a huge percentage of the meta. Mono red aggro is actually still pretty decent as well, but I did not actually expect mono green to be doing such a good job. In fact, the easiest deck to play would probably be a mono green mid-range or a mono red aggro, and they're both doing really well. So yeah, that's something to look into. Blitz, Monastery, Swiftspear, Lava Dart, Lightning Bolt. Yep, so mono red, blue red aggro or spells. Amulet Titan, yeah. Hammer Time. Hammer Time has really bumped up some very unusual cards and some very not unusual cards like Stoneforge Mystic. And Stoneforge Mystic obviously is now a big deal since it's sitting around about $75. I'll have a quick look at it. And Uro is at its lowest point it has ever been, and it is still dropping, so the time may be soon. So Stoneforge Mystic is now sitting at $74. It is flatlined for now. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Okay, and last updates before moving on to another interest is Badlands Revised Edition. So obviously revised is one of the best ways to look into the market. If I can get a quick look at what's happening. Still moving pretty consistently up. Still moving pretty consistently up for Tiger. I think that, as far as I can tell, the reserved list revised lands are still strong. Tiger is the only one that I was missing. But at this point, I'm probably not going to worry about it. It just, like, $349.99 for a moderately play doesn't feel bad. But when you have a look at how many listings there are, so there are 3 pages of listings, and by the looks of it, 27 altogether. Now, this is still some of the highest I've seen in a long time. So possibly the market's starting to get a bit oversaturated, but we'll have to see. And another thing to keep an eye on that no one probably cares about is the dollar DXY. That's annoying. Mainly the reason is that the dollar is starting to get to a point where it is going to have its 50 range, move above its 200, which means it'll make a golden cross, which is a good sign that the dollar is going to strengthen. Now, there's a pretty high chance that the dollar does strengthen. It'll get rejected by this line right up here, possibly at around about exactly 100. If it goes that long, it could even go to 98. Really depends on how fast it takes to go up here. That's if it goes up here. As you can see right now, it is overbought. So, there's a chance that the dollar could go down. But if the red crosses the white, it's a pretty good sign that there's some strength behind it. And you can see that in the past, except for maybe that funky time where we had the COVID news, when the 50 moving average hits the 200, it's a pretty good sign that there's going to be more pain to follow, and when it does the exact opposite, it kind of continues bouncing off the 20. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later. See ya.